I think I've made enough of a statement to the troopers that work under me that that's not going to be tolerated.
Tennessee's highest-ranking law enforcement officer says his troopers are not supposed to give preferential treatment to other officers. But our community watchdog found out they let an off-duty Kingsport police officer drive home after he said that he was drinking and driving. Tennessee Highway Patrol's colonel says his troopers did everything right during that traffic stop.
But neighbor Obito found a report from Kingsport Police calling that into question.
December 11th, just before midnight.
You got your license on you? No, I don't. Got on you? Where's that?
A Tennessee Highway patrolman stops a Ford Mustang for going 60 in a 45.
What's your name?
The trooper reports he notices a slight odor of alcohol, that the man's eyes are red, and that he's lethargic.
You have anything to drink tonight? Nothing whatsoever? No. Would you tell the truth if you had?
Just seconds after that series of questions, the driver sets the tone for the rest of the stop.
I'm a policeman with Kingsport. Oh, you are?
Now, knowing the man is a fellow officer from Kingsport, the trooper calls his supervisor, who then calls Kingsport Police.
These lieutenants on the way here, they should do your job.
Eventually, the driver admits to drinking earlier in the night.
How much have you had? 2 beers. 2 beers.
Still, the trooper, his sergeant, and the officer's lieutenant repeatedly make it clear.
I understand it's law enforcement, so I gotta do my job.
Despite how awkward this is,
I hate this situation.
they should not treat the man any differently because he has a badge.
If there's enough clues there, and you think he's been drinking, you proceed normal.
Speaking of clues,
Stepped up on Miss Hill to toe.
there are plenty of them during his field sobriety test,
Miss Hill to toe. Stepped off line.
a test the off-duty officer
Stepped off line, fell off balance.
struggles with at times.
Put foot down, put foot down,
Among the tests,
put foot down,
a check of his balance
put foot down, put foot down, put foot down. All right, you stop.
and a test to see if he can touch his nose multiple times.
Missed. Missed.
Despite those clues,
I've had a lot worse than that, but I've not already.
the trooper concludes the man is not impaired.
What would you do if that's anybody else? Make a decision then.
According to a report, he bases that decision on the fact the off-duty officer did not have slurred speech, stumble, or stagger. The Kingsport lieutenant on scene agrees.
In my opinion, he's on that borderline.
He's borderline at best.
He did show me a few clues here and there, but not enough to where I feel comfortable taking him to jail for DUI.
The trooper explains his findings
Do me a favor and just be careful about drinking and driving.
and lets the driver off with a warning.
You're free to go, okay? I'm not going to write you a ticket for speeding.
But things don't end there. Instead, the Kingsport Police Department opens an internal affairs review of this traffic stop. According to a statement from the chief, the agency's concerned the off-duty officer, at the least, violated the department's code of conduct. After reviewing this video and the officer's statements, an internal investigator determines the man was in fact impaired the night THP let him drive home. They thought he was impaired.
Yeah, I read the letter from the deputy chief. The only person that wasn't there said he was impaired. Now, I'm not here to criticize the Kingsport Police Department, but I think their statement was in error and it's not supported by fact.
You don't feel like he was impaired?
No.
Colonel Tracy Trott says he's watched the video and feels confident in his troopers' handling of the stop.
This is a tough situation for any law enforcement officer to be put in. And I think they were very professional, I think they were very thorough, and I think they were very honest in the way they dealt with this situation.
The colonel says he has proof police do not get preferential treatment. He provided us with roughly 30 DUI arrest reports dating back to 2013. Documented instances of THP troopers, mostly in other parts of the state, charging everyone from probation officers to corrections officers, a judge's son, a trooper's son, and several police officers. He says the reports show THP's record of arresting fellow officers.
The Highway Patrol makes its reputation and hangs its hat on the fact that we're going to protect people on the highway. And we're not, under any circumstances, going to let drunk drivers drive away no matter what their profession is.
But he admits it took a few years for that message to sink in for a handful of his troopers. In 2011, just a year after Trott took over as colonel, public records show a trooper helped arrange a ride for this Rutherford County Sheriff's deputy, instead of giving the man a field sobriety test. A man reportedly going 99 in a 70. After an internal investigation, the colonel fired the trooper. In 2012, he fired another trooper who drove drunk on the job. The colonel also suspended the man's supervisor and demoted a captain for their handling of the situation. And in 2014, he suspended another trooper after this short traffic stop involving an off-duty Monroe County Sheriff's deputy. The trooper pulled the man over for going 78 in a 55 and smelled alcohol and vomit coming out of the truck. But instead of moving forward with a field sobriety test or calling in the stop to dispatch, he told the driver to drive up the road and pull over, then turned off his camera and called someone to give the man a ride home.
Colonel Trott, it's always a pleasure having you in Northeast Tennessee.
The colonel says he's changed the culture within THP, making it clear DUI enforcement is his top priority. He says any employee that gives out preferential treatment will face the consequences.
I think I've made enough of a statement to the troopers that work under me that that's not going to be tolerated.
But back in Kingsport, the colonel says his troopers will not face disciplinary action as a result of this traffic stop.
This man was pulled over for going 15 miles over the speed limit. He didn't have his driver's license. He lied to the trooper that he hadn't been drinking, and then he didn't ace the field sobriety test. If that were anyone else, would they have walked away with just a verbal warning?
We stop people all day long across the state of Tennessee and give them oral and verbal warnings.
Should the trooper have written a speeding violation?
That's totally up to his discretion.
Doesn't bother you that he didn't?
No. We let people go every day.
Records show that same trooper in his first 6 months with THP made 32 other DUI arrests and handed out 90 speeding tickets. Nate Morabito, News Channel 11 in your corner.
That off-duty officer resigned from the Kingsport Police Department shortly after that traffic stop.